Jason is, but don't hate Jason. It's great.
I'm just saying
I'm competing with him. The thing, Autumn, is that, when I brought you in to be the cute, funny girl on the show,
right?
I didn't expect you to start gaining weight like a lesbian truck driver.
I'm pregnant.
Excuses, excuses. Just saying, you're here to be cute, and you're like, you weigh twice as much as you did the day I hired you. I don't know if this is going well because, you're pregnant, and some people may figure that out, but a lot of people are going to think, who's the fat chick?
It's only going to get worse.
It's just for a while. All right, Ask Eric Anything, number 3. And don't clap. I've decided, I've been thinking a lot. I've had, kids, please. I've had 3 months to think about what's good and what's bad and what I like and what I don't like. And one of the things that I've really, really decided, I think, is that I don't like clapping on the radio. I don't know. It's silly. I think people do it just because they think, well, got to have something because somebody's walking in. But
you know what? I think that deserves an applause.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. So it's Ask Eric Anything, and what you do at Ask Eric Anything is is there a problem?
Well, we just got a comment.
Good.
The Jason Isbell to open up the show. Apparently, he has a live online show right now. So
that's what I'm saying.
So can we move the show back to 3? That's what the person wants to know.
I'm a big Jason Isbell fan.
I can go to black. And we can just...
I'm a big Jason Isbell fan. And I consider one of my great friends, Sadler Vaden, is now in that band. And so I'm a huge Jason Isbell fan. But no, we're not going to turn this off right now and wait for him to be done.
Am I allowed to not know who any of those people are?
How do you not know who Jason Isbell is?
Is that weird?
Well, it's okay for you.
You have no idea.
No, it's okay if you not to know Sadler. Sadler's a great guitarist.
Yeah.
He was in Driving and Crying, and then now he's over in Jason Isbell's band.
Is it
Jason
called
Isbell,
the Jason Isbell band?
I believe it's called Jason Isbell. Now, for a while, they were a 400 unit, and then I think PR-wise, they said, be the Jason Isbell, whatever. But he was in a little band called Drive By Truckers that you may have heard of.
Okay, yeah. I worked for them for a minute. I was a roadie for a while.
Really? In what year?
2001 through 2004.
I think Jason was in it then.
Yeah.
So
Not
I think
with them specifically that time frame, but I was.
You were a roadie.
Doing like roadie.
I don't find that difficult to believe. Look at you.
That was good, man.
You got that look. I can see you.
I had to work for Metallica. I have a lifetime backstage pass.
Really?
Don't brag.
Cool.
You got did you put on cargo pants and the whole deal and have that whole
No,
look?
I used to. I wore compression shorts and like just workout pants, but I did have a fanny pack.
Right.
That had all my stuff in it.
Hey, you do realize? Hold on, let me switch the camera to me. Hey, there it is. You do realize nobody knows who we are. So you should probably go.
No, I know. I was just gonna do that. Don't worry. I was just gonna.
No
do
one
that.
cares about people roadieing until they actually know who they are.
I know. Ask Eric Anything is we're joined actually with what is going to be the cast of The Morning Show with EVH. And we're going to talk about things like roadieing a lot.
Yeah.
I think my vision of the show is a lot of conversation about things we did in 2001, 2002. I was actually
Drugs.
famous. I was famous back then. This is Autumn Fisher right here. And she is pregnant. And
disgusting.
Don't be disgusted by her. She's much larger than she normally is in real life.
Can I show it?
You're a very fat woman now.
Man.
Look
Don't
at her.
Pull your shirt up.
Look at that.
So big.
Yeah. It's hard for me to sell you as the cute girl, but we're going to do what we can.
It's a baby. It's a human.
She's also a big liberal, so she's demanding 3 months off as soon as the baby is born.
I cut her camera because of that dance. I didn't like it, and I don't think other people should have seen it.
Michael Albanese,
Yes.
right over there, is
Hello.
going to be joining us on a daily basis on The Morning Show with EVH.
Very excited.
I bet you are. Look at you.
But I don't know what that means.
Well, you look a big.
I look excited?
You look a big, excited mountain man.
I'm going to take my shirt off.
And Greg Russ over there is sort of producing and handling stuff, and he'll be piping in as well. He's helping me build this little studio. And by the way, if you go back to the 2-shot here, I want everyone to know that this studio is not built yet. So we're just in the in-betweens.
I'm just cycling through. So yes, when we're on your camera, looks like you're in a different room, a den somewhere.
We've kind of built this out behind me. Yeah, we've built this out behind me properly. And in the 2-shot behind Michael and Autumn, we'll have signage. We'll have a big Eric Von Radio thing behind them, so it won't look the way it does. And we'll do something about that door because that looks really, really bad. Do we have questions? And so I wanted you guys to be able to meet Michael and Autumn and Greg and and do a different thing with Ask Eric Anything, so it doesn't look exactly like the last one. Because a lot of times, let's face it, I'm still getting a lot of the same questions, and I want to answer those questions for people. I don't want to be a douche. And also, one thing we're trying to accomplish today is get rid of my pee popping, and we put this little filter in front of me, and I find it. I'm a pee popper. I pop my peas.
What's your hip hop name?
Pop pee popper. So
DJ
Papa
P-Pops.
Pee Popper.
should I sing?
That sounds like something
for it.
like a way you teach your kid not to wet the bed.
Pop,
Pee
pop,
popper?
pop, pop. How's it doing? Is it all right?
There are a few pops there.
I know, but is it popping as pee popping? Is it like it was before?
Keep singing. I got the reverb going. We'll see.
Don't stop me now. I'm gonna have a good time. Having a ball. Don't pop me now. You wanna have a good time. Pop me a call. Don't pop me now.
I think it's much better.
Don't pop me 'cause I'm having a good time. Having a good time. I'm a shooting star from the Mars. Something like a tiger defying the laws of gravity. I'm a racing car passing by like Lady Godiva. I'm on a zoo. There's no stopping me. I'm burning through the sky, yeah. 200 degrees, that's why they call me Mr. Fire and Pop. Traveling at the speed of pop. I'm gonna make a supersonic man out of you. Don't stop me now.
Okay.
All right, so that's
Okay. That's not going to stop that.
All right.
I have
Your
my
giant filter is not going to stop the overmodulation there when you scream.
I don't know why. I know you guys are freaked. For some reason, fans of the old show love when I sing that song. It's not something that I understand. But, give the people what they want.
I have the first question.
Yes.
Ask Eric Anything. Can you never do that again?
Here's the thing. I would choose not to, but my fans
thought it was
would
delightful.
abandon me.
I was delighted by it. Honestly.
They would. It's good until I do the burning through. That's where I lose it. It's when I'm on the da 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 da. I feel like I had that down, but then I was like da 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 da.
See, there
I
you
can't
were.
do it.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
All right. Do we have questions for? So I wanted to have everyone here so that you could not only ask me questions, but you could ask them questions. And
Ooh.
I think that
do
basically my fans are probably going to hate you guys. So let's just get
More
that out of the
likely.
way. Well, I mean, in the beginning, you know how it is. There's changes. They want Tim and they want. Maybe we can put you in a ponytail.
I can be Michael
Hey.
McDonald.
Hey, can I ask you the first question?
Yes.
Did anyone in this room ever date Tim?
Yes. Michael Albanese did.
Actually, I did, and he's a gentle lover.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I needed more. Then all he wanted to do was the sex. I couldn't.
That's all he's about, man. That's all he's
He
about.
did like to hold hands, and that's what I had a problem with.
Autumn lived with him though.
Yeah.
Did you guys dated?
I
Huh?
did, yeah.
She
It
was
was
Mrs.
great.
She was
Do
Mrs.
we
Tim
need to know
Andrews.
whose baby this is?
This might be Tim's baby.
Oh, good God.
No, it was not. It was great. It was fine. I mean,
Yeah.
it was like a vacation for me.
Yeah.
Because he sort of took care of me.
Oh,
Girl.
really? This is
And
back.
let me eat a million things and smoke a million
Yeah,
things.
Yeah,
boy.
so how much weight did you gain when you dated Tim Andrews?
Hey,
I
these
might
aren't
have
questions.
gained-
These are your questions. These are not
All right,
questions
I'll-
coming
I-
from people.
Okay.
How much weight did you gain, by the
probably
way?
gained
I remember
like
you puffing
15 or 20 pounds.
up. Yeah.
But it was like I've gained weight now, but it's been like at a slower, well, maybe not a slower pace, but maybe
It hit you
On
pretty
about
quick.
an
a
8-month
healthier
cycle.
way, but at the
Healthier?
time, well, now
Now.
it's healthier. Now it's healthier.
No,
but
I
like
remember.
before,
You started
it was-
dating Tim and you blew up in like 2 months.
All
it was
this
a lot
weight
of,
gaining
like-
talk's making me hungry. Is that weird?
There's a
I
lot
don't
of
want a cheeseburger.
smoking and
I remember taking you
eating.
aside back then and saying, "Hey, you're only 22. Don't give up yet.
Yes, because I was trying
It's a little too
to,
early.
I
You
was-
were rationalizing.
I was
it.
rationalizing it,
Yeah.
and I was saying, I'm trying to be comfortable with this new body or something.
Yeah.
And you said, don't swim too far away from shore. And
I
I
did.
always thought about that.
That's right.
Because there are no French fries in the middle of the ocean.
That's right.
And
Don't
that's
Although
get
it's
too
why-
far
salty,
away.
strangely
Yeah,
enough.
plenty of
So
salt, yeah.
sometimes it feels like there are. Do I have questions about something other than Autumn having crazy ravenous sex for? By the way, that relationship was great until I had to come help you move out of his apartment, and that was a little awkward between me and him.
He
Anyway.
blew up a little bit because, it didn't end well. But now it's fine.
You guys get along?
Yeah, we don't hardly talk, but I can text him something funny and he responds and we're laughing. But
My relationship with Tim is like that now. We don't hardly talk, but I don't text him ever. So it's very
exactly
close.
the same. It's perfect.
All right, throw some questions at us. I don't want people, getting angry that we're not paying attention to them.
How easy will it be for China to take over the Asian Pacific Rim?
No, wait.
Wow.
Whose question is that? I think it's important to say to call
Yeah.
this person.
No, we don't need to because
It's a
there's
okay.
some names you can't
At least
pronounce.
the first name. Oh no, some names you can't pronounce. Doesn't mean we can't pronounce them. Try
Rick.
to-
Hi,
okay,
Rick.
Galinas. I assume
all right,
it's a
that's
hard
it.
G.
That's it. It is a hard G.
Galinas.
Rick is a friend of the old show and has been kind enough to give me his support as well. So, and he apparently is into politics. And what is it? How's it easy going to be for China to what?
Take over the
Pacific
Asian
Rim.
Pacific Rim.
Wow, that's not my area of expertise.
They're
Do you
already
want my
there.
opinion, Michael? I think that China
They're
is your
already there. It's Asia, right?
yeah. It
It's
would
why
appear
why do we want their Pacific Rim?
that's right. Is
Take
there
it back. The movie sucked. You suck.
Movie?
Take a hike.
let them
It was
rim?
fun.
I didn't see it.
Oh, it was really fun.
I just weirds me out that most of the Sons of Anarchy were in that movie, and I was just like,
You're
that
saying,
seems silly. It seems like a silly concept.
Let them rim the Pacific.
Let
it
'em
belongs
rim
to
it all
them.
day.
Huh? How about that? Huh?
Now, just
I didn't leave that shock jockery behind.
That's right.
Yes. So that's kind of a
cape it.
tough question. You got anything on Justin Bieber? Anything a little bit? I've been really concentrating on the Justin Bieber story more than anything in my time off. Not because he's delicious, because he's
Young.
an interesting. What?
Sexy. He's young.
He's young and he's sexy, and I'm just saying.
Skin. Oh my god.
Yeah, like velvet. No, it's not like velvet
No,
at
like a
all. That would be wrong.
smooth
Yeah, very like a supple young man is what he is, really.
Pink.
And I'm not saying that's what attracts me to him, but I can understand why
course.
girls, for instance,
Yeah.
would be. That's
Yes.
all I'm saying.
Is it weird that all this Justin Bieber talk's making me hungry?
It is weird.
Starving.
I'm weirded out by myself that I like if Justin Bieber headline is like he's fucking up again or doing something, I will immediately go, okay, I don't know why. I just want to see this kid completely destroy himself.
Get out.
And I didn't see the Leif Garrett thing coming, but I feel like I could jump on this ride right at the very beginning and watch the whole process.
So
happen.
you don't have like any hope that he turns into like a Joe McIntyre kind of crooner a couple years from now?
You know, he might. I see him as a director when he gets out of music.
Well, okay.
I think he'll start his own label and have lots of great stars on it. I see him, just buying as much cocaine as his money will buy, and then becoming very, very scissor.
all
The
the
whole
scissor.
thing. Is he? Yeah, he's hanging out with the rappers.
He's on the scissor. Yeah,
See
'cause
what's
they found all
happening
these
here?
codeine
We're talking
bottles.
about Justin Bieber. See, we started out. You got to be careful. Yes.
That was not a question though.
What was the
There's
question?
nothing about Justin Bieber.
No.
Yeah, I know. I tend to
know.
do that lately.
And we're just going to get into the things that people want to talk about.
All
The
right.
regular guys. They don't like us. So let's just
Who, these people?
Yeah, just settle on that now.
No, I know they don't. That's why I'm
The
doing
people
this.
listening don't like us?
What?
Well, no,
It might not be. It might not be that they don't like us. It might just they don't know us, so they don't have any questions.
Oh
for
yeah,
us.
keep
You know?
on.
Oh,
keep on
I don't want
asking.
questions. No one needs to ask me anything. I don't like to share anything. What was your highest salary when you were a regular guy throughout the whole run?
Is this a real
That's a
question, or
real
are you
question.
asking?
No, that's a real question.
You
No.
don't know the
Yes,
answer.
I do. I bet you I do.
I don't even know if I know, but it was.
It was that good, huh?
Did it start with 3 and have a lot of 3s in it?
No,
Am I allowed
it
to
was
say?
higher than that.
Oh, really?
It was higher than that.
I thought it was
This is a weird thing. Like I'm all,
$333. That's what I thought it was.
I am.
$1,000,000 over 3 years.
I made this mistake in LA once. I thought, I'm going to be the guy on the radio who doesn't care. He's going to make 6 figures. Nobody talks about how much money they make, and I'm going to do that. That was the biggest mistake I ever made, because people don't make that kind of money, and it kind of freaks them out and makes them feel like crap. But the question has been asked, and I try to be very good on Ask Eric Anything and be honest. And so let's just say it was somewhere close to a lot of money. It was a lot of money that wasn't $1 million a year, and it wasn't $750,000 a year, right?
It was higher?
No, it was a little lower.
Oh, okay.
It was somewhere around half. Was
What
about
does
as
it
high
matter
as
now
it
if
got.
you don't want to? Do you not
Well,
wanna
I
say?
know. Well, no, I shouldn't feel bad about it, because that's not what I'm making now.
Yeah.
About $500,000 a year.
And it
That
took
was
you,
the-
it took you
that was
20
the-
some years to get to that point. So
I'll be honest with you.
years
It
of
did.
making $1,500 a year.
Oh,
you know,
my first radio paycheck was $15,000 a year.
Yeah,
That was the first paycheck I got in radio.
last year I made less than that, and it is 2013 money.
Yeah.
You know, as a comic, you don't make that kind of money.
How old are
so.
you?
I just turned 30.
Okay, I made my first big boy paycheck when I was 31.
Well, we'll see.
So
what
you have
happens.
1
I
year.
got that.
Yeah, this
Hey,
is
good
it. This is gonna
It's
be
coming.
What
It's
was
happening.
the year of your first full-time radio paycheck?
it. The one that was $15,000
Yes.
was 1988.
All right. The reason I asked that is because my first radio paycheck at Clear Channel when you were at 96 Rock, which was 2001, $16,000 a year.
Well, it's
so it's
kinda-
nice to see that.
It's the radio
You're moving it
startup
up.
thing.
Yeah.
They don't really allow for inflation and things like that in radio.
I think that's the going rate still to this day. It's probably dropping.
It's dropped.
probably dropping.
It's dropped. I think. I mean, gosh, not to reveal anything, but I mean, Seabass was there like 7 years before he was making $16,000. It's ridiculous. It's criminal, really. But you know, that's how they run it now. There's no value to it. More questions.
What is the capital of Kansas?
Oh, people are really starting. Capital of Kansas is. Oh,
You didn't
shoot.
remember this? You should
This
have.
was the
I have
question.
this. This is
This
the one.
was the one that
I remember.
Yes, I remember it too.
God, I'm so good with state capitals. Hold on. It's not.
Oh, that's right. What did I say?
Montpelier is
said the wrong
Vermont.
one.
I was so confident.
You and your
Kansas,
pregnant
why
belly.
can't-
It's like your brain. Where did it
I
go?
don't know her.
I know it, but I'm gonna just have to bow out.
You do have a computer in front of you. Just look it up.
I don't want to look it up.
What a badass.
I remember you saying, "I'm really good at state capitals, you guys."
I used to be really good.
You looked down hard on us when we didn't have.
Yeah.
the
I know,
answer.
but I
So
used to
ready?
be.
What is it?
No, I'm just looking
Oh.
down on him.
I used to be really
Giving it back to
good.
you.
I used to be really good at state capitals. Montpelier, Vermont. Cheyenne,
easy ones.
Wyoming. Lincoln, Nebraska.
Still not the question.
Georgia?
Kansas,
What's Georgia?
Springfield. I don't know.
No.
I don't know. What is it?
Topeka.
Yeah, I knew
Oh,
that.
you were right.
I said
I knew
that.
that.
I thought it was Wichita.
Yes.
What the
Now
hell?
I
said it
feel.
was
Look back
Topeka.
down on me now. Look on me.
All right, we've talked about Justin Bieber and the capital of Kansas. This is
that's
gonna
just-
be. I predict this is going to be the most downloaded Ask Eric Anything ever.
It's a mess. Just like the weather the other night, which leads us
sad.
to our.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. I try to be a pro sometimes. Any crazy tales of survival from
Well,
Tuesday?
Okay, well, hold on. Let me start since I'm the host of the show, and this is something you guys are going to have to get used to. I brought you on here live to let you know that your job really is to shut up until I'm not talking. So,
Well, I have something to say.
yeah, well-
no, I'm just kidding.
don't do that either. Don't apologize for yourself, fat lady.
Apologize, did I?
Just because you're fat doesn't mean you have to apologize
But
for
I'm just
yourself.
kidding.
All right.
JK. I'll say JK.
JK. No, Greg and I were building this thing out. My son got out of school early, 12:30 or something like that. So we were going to drive down here I think it's about 2 miles away. We ended up out there about 5 hours. His bus never came, turned around. He ended up going back to the high school. It took him 8 hours to go back to the high school. He had to sleep at the high school. My wife was with some friends over near Cobb Parkway, and that was just a parking lot. So luckily she pulled off, went into the Renaissance Hotel, and ended up sleeping in the lounge that night. And she fell asleep till midnight, and then somebody woke her up to tell her to go to the other side of the lounge, and then she couldn't sleep. She was in a great sleep. Greg and I got stuck on the way back on Coleman, and we actually got out of the car and for 2 hours pushed cars up the hill on Coleman. And then I would have stayed another hour. I was really kind of getting off on it. It was kind of adventurous, and we're like in charge. Everybody was driving up. I was like, what do we do? What do we do? We're like, and it was kind of fun until the first douchebag showed up, got out of his car and started complaining. And then one of the guys I was working with started yelling at him. The F-bomb was released, and I
was he
just
complaining
slowly
about?
faded away.
What was he
What had
complaining about?
Well, everyone was frustrated. Everyone was frustrated. I just didn't want to be there when it turned into a fight.
Well, here's the backstory.
Yeah, what
The
happened?
hill had turned into a one-lane road because people had abandoned their cars. So
Oh, sure.
we were helping get the cars up, and for an hour, the cars trying to come down the hill just sat there. And at some point, we blocked traffic, and we're getting cars going down, and this guy just decided to leave line and try to come up the hill. So he
What a
threw
bum.
off the balance of everything, and then he
He's a
got out of
bum.
the car and started yelling.
But you realize everybody's frustrated, and so I stayed, and we were good Samaritans until the first person started blaming us for the problem. And Greg likes to stick around when things get like that, but I don't. And he said, "No, I think this is fun," and I just started walking away. Didn't say goodbye to anybody, and he caught me later. But he wanted to get laid, so we got back to the house.
I'm not even
And he
switching
said,
the camera. This camera's staying on
he
you.
said we had abandoned the car of like Coleman. We parked it on the side of the road, and we get back to the house. We're safe and sound, but he's got something that he wants to attend to in the city. I'm gonna go get the car. And I'm thinking, oh, he's gonna get the car and bring it back. Then I get a call back later. I'm stuck on 400. He's trying to make it to the city, so it took him about.
You went down 400.
Yeah.
Oh no.
No,
Went
it was
down on
fine.
more than that.
It was fine going
Hey.
down. Oh,
Sorry,
no, your timing's wrong. That was the next night.
Basement.
I know.
I know. Come
What'd
on.
you take
But
him
here's,
for?
I'll tell you what I
First
thought.
night?
When I was going to try to stop him from going into the car, but in the back of my mind, I thought, in a situation like this, where the town is completely at a standstill, cars everywhere, it's very difficult to negotiate. I thought to myself, trust a man who wants to get in somebody's pants to get
Yeah.
the job done. I actually thought this is good
Yeah.
because he, when you put that
It's a
in a
different
man's
motivation.
head, right? He's going to navigate. He's going to do what he has to do. He didn't get into the city until like 2:30 in the morning or something.
It only took 5.5 hours. It wasn't bad. Once I
And
got
she was waiting
south
for you?
of 285, no, she was asleep. So I stopped by my friend Samantha's apartment to pick up some beer. She was about to go to sleep. A former intern of the Regular Guys show, Angry Sam. She gave me pretzels and beer, and then I went home and
Pretzels and beer.
slept for a few hours.
Pretzels and beer.
That's boring anyway. Next question.
Yeah.
I had a great snow. That was the best-
It's not boring
best
though
day
that
of my
you
life.
that what I'm saying here is that if you find yourself in a situation where you need a navigator, find a guy. You put a woman somewhere out there, and that's the kind of motivation that you need to
Yeah,
get through
absolutely.
these kind of. I mean, I'm an old man. He's a young guy, but I remember that kind of drive.
The young-
Yes.
That ice didn't stop me. And that Subaru all-wheel drive saved the day.
One thing I'll tell you, one thing that I learned, and I think everybody should do this, because one guy showed up and he's like, "I got salt," and he had salt
For
that he carried
himself.
around for himself. But I mean,
No, he
how
didn't
long
share
would
it.
Well, how
He
was he
didn't
going to
share
share it with the whole city? I mean, you have one thing, but it made me realize that you should always have salt in your back seat. It happens here once every 2.5, 3 years. It's like jumper cables. How often do you need them? You should always have salt in your back. In your trunk.
Okay,
So
so,
that you
if,
Seems like the right move.
like if you have
Huh?
if you have this
This is a
salt
good idea.
and you're stuck on a hill, are you just gonna sprinkle it down where you're gonna
Well,
go?
no. Well, yeah. Well, you just want to put it around the wheels because usually the wheels are
just
just
on
having
the
a little.
wheels?
Well, underneath,
Oh,
like
just
where you're
underneath.
going.
Well, that's what they say. You put kitty litter in your.
Well, you can carry that around too, but kitty litter doesn't. Salt just gets washes away.
I see.
Kitty litter is a mess.
This show's going to be great to listen to in the archives in July.
Yeah, I
Gonna be
know.
one
We're
of the
talking
best.
about Hey, we're just doing this so people can meet us, so that we can make sure the cameras are working and all that kind of stuff.
When you were in Los Angeles, did Larry really make Phil Collins angry, or was that just a radio skit?
First of all, as far as from my point of view, there were very few to no radio skits as far as stories go. I never made up a story. That is absolutely correct. Something happened. It was 2 days in a row. We pissed two people off. Phil Collins, I think, was the least. I can't remember if it was Phil Collins first. Phil Collins came in first. This was when that Music Cares charity thing was being started by the Grammy organization. So we're out in Los Angeles, so they get big names to kind of promote it. So it was 2 days in a row. We would have David Crosby first day and Phil Collins the second day. I'm sorry, wrong way, because the second one wouldn't happen. Phil Collins the first day, David Crosby the second day. I believe that's how it was. So Phil Collins comes in, and Larry has this thing where, I mean, this is 1995 or 6. So Phil Collins is still kind of a deal. And if he doesn't have a top 40 hit, it's only been a year or two or something since he's had that thing that went from like 1981 to 1993 or
And
something.
I Can't Dance song? Maybe
No, that was
that's the one?
Genesis. That was Genesis.
No.
No,
That was
I-
Phil Collins. I can't
Yeah,
dance.
he's in a band called Genesis.
Oh, yeah.
That was the problem. Genesis began to sound like this. Never
I
mind.
thought it was. I was confusing it. with the-
Don't rat hole me here. I'm not gonna. I'll explain Genesis to you. But so Larry's like, what am I gonna talk to Phil Collins about? I don't want to talk to him about his music or It's like, Jesus Christ. This is not difficult. He's one of the biggest pop stars
Ever.
ever of all time. It shouldn't be difficult to talk to him. Be interesting. So Larry started talking about everything else. I think Phil Collins had just gotten out of a divorce. It was like his third divorce or something. I don't know. And Larry starts hammering him about the money, how much money it's costing him that sort of thing. So he didn't get that angry, but at one point he answered a question. This was a great moment because I grew up a Genesis fan, so this is a great moment for me. Larry didn't know anything about Phil Collins. I grew up a Genesis fan. So a great moment for me is I was beginning to get to the point in my career where I was just starting to get frustrated with Larry sometimes. And Phil Collins answered one of Larry's questions. And Larry's response to Phil Collins was, well, yeah, okay, I get that. And one of the great early moments of my career is Phil Collins turning to me and saying, hey, how about that, Eric? He gets that. Yeah. I thought, well, I just had a moment. Phil Collins and I just said, isn't that guy a dick? To each other in so many words. So then David Crosby came in the next day pursuing the same thing. I mean, the same Music Cares thing. And he ended up punching Larry.
On air?
Although I didn't blame that one on Larry because David Crosby had just gotten through all that drug stuff.
Right.
And we're not supposed to talk about it. And so we bring up drugs and at one point, I mean, he's going on. I think it's fine that he got over drugs. I would rather him not be strung out the way he was. He was really, really cracked out or something in the early 90s. And I said, well, what about, I mean, drugs aren't always bad. What about Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, the Beatles? And David Crosby actually looked at me and said, I think it would have been better if they had been straight. And I was like, come on. So then as we get to the commercial, Larry keeps asking about drugs, and he starts hitting Larry like this as he's answering the question. And then, and Larry wasn't pregnant. And then when we went to break, he looked at us and said, if there's any more questions about drugs, I'm not going to stay. And it wasn't Larry. It was me because I hated that from celebrities. And I just said, well, you should probably go then because I don't want the person who's being interviewed should not tell the host what they can and cannot, whatever.
Or just leave. Okay. Well,
And the cool thing, when Phil Collins was there, that guy who was the guy that Tony Hendra, who plays the manager in Spinal Tap, but the guy who was the manager with Phil Collins that day, who was with him, was the guy that character was based on. So he was over in the corner making all of his noise. It was great. That's a long explanation. I'm sorry, I filibustered like Obama.
Well, you do have an hour to fill.
Well, yeah.
Better get used to it. You're the new host, the new lead. I don't know if you're ready for that kind of responsibility.
That's a good question. It's
that wasn't a question. I don't really want you to answer that
I
because
wondered about
we have
that.
a really good question here that I think a lot of people would like to know about. Was the wiffle ball bat challenge on the regular guys real?
Well, were you there at that time? Were you an intern?
I was there.
Were you there, Autumn?
I was there, but I never saw it.
Greg, did you ever see it?
I saw it. I had to come in and smell the bat once. Yes.
So you answered the question. Was it real?
It was real. It was definitely real, but the bat didn't smell, and I didn't pretend it smelled. So I went in, and I just said, smells fine to me. And I killed the whole
Oh, you killed the whole bit
segment.
because you were a
Yeah.
kid. You should have come in. You should have overreacted. It would have been more fun.
Yeah, I didn't know any better.
Well, yeah, it was real, and it was killed by advertisers, not by program. I mean, at the time, I got to say, it was not one of my favorite things. It was really actually pretty disgusting because the girl, remember that studio? I would sit here, Larry was over there, and the guest chair was right here. And for some reason, they always would swing themselves.
Toward you? Oh, no.
They would go wide open, spread eagle toward me rather than the other way.
They wouldn't
And it
squat
just-
down on it?
Sometimes, look, they
I
all.
didn't know how. I was trying to think, did they wear a dress?
The advertisers, by the way, it was the Wiffle Corporation that said, you know what, we can't do this anymore. This is not an intended purpose for this bat.
Exactly, it's dangerous.
You
Yeah,
gotta
it
go
was.
to the other side.
It was gross. You
good.
didn't really want to be around the women who had actually. I don't know what they were getting for that. I can't remember. Did they get concert
T-shirt.
tickets? Yeah, T-shirt.
Do anything for those radio station T-shirts.
They got
It is
to plug their MySpace page.
Yeah.
So yeah, there it goes. That was real, of course, and also the drunken stuff was real. Didn't we have a drunken whore or something? What was that?
I think I was that for my 21st birthday.
You were
Ooh,
Taffy Wilson.
so drunk.
That's what I did for Snowpocalypse. Not to bring it back to the other question, but I just been drinking for
Got
3
drunk?
days. Oh yeah.
Any pills involved?
No.
Oh.
No.
Why?
Dayquil. maybe.
Dayquil. It's over the
800
counter.
milligrams of Tylenol to keep
Possibly.
the migraine from crippling me. I live in the Highlands, man. It's great down there. I can walk to the bars.
Yeah,
You go
that's
walk and eat.
Were the
and
bars
just get
open?
plastered.
Do
Oh,
all
yeah.
this?
A lot of
And
the
they
bars,
were
yeah.
packed.
I'll bet.
Because it's literally like no one can go anywhere or do anything tomorrow. So tonight there is no tomorrow.
Yeah,
Like,
it's New Year's
that's-
Eve.
No, well, but then you didn't have to travel. Like there was zero to do. So when it snows like that, it's like the best time ever because everyone's just out to party and have a good time.
And when you say snowpocalypse, it reminds me, we definitely want feedback to know if my peas are popping. I find it difficult to believe that something this thin
No.
could actually stop that, but that's amazing.
You could just change it to that word.
Oh, no.
That was what I did. This is what I spent my night doing on Tuesday night or whenever it
Snowpocalypse?
first hit. is
Really?
I was drawing phallic symbols on every car down North Highland and taking pictures of it, and then it caught on.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to
I
understand-
saw 3 on my walk home from Piedmont.
Snowpocalypse.
Okay, you're a leader, but I'm beginning to understand why you're making the same amount in 2013 that I was making in 1988.
Why's that?
Well, this is your spending your night.
I think my snowpocalypse. I'm not like going around doing it with
I think
markers on a normal
now you've
night.
probably got a whole empire you're building. T-shirts, coffee mugs.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Can you curse? Someone wants to hear you curse.
I know I
because they're
saw
not-
that there. Didn't I curse already once?
Maybe you did. Maybe
Do
that
it
it was a
again.
reference to that.
Yeah.
They want to hear more of it.
Yeah, I don't know what to do about that. I don't want we've talked about this. I don't want the morning show to be a thing where we curse a lot because you can. I think it's kind of
No.
cheap, but if it's organic, I guess it's okay.
I think it's just that going without for so long, they want
Yeah.
to hear like, oh, he said.
I think we should play a game called "How Can We Get Eric to Curse?" and just be.
Well, just like, come at me, anger me.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we'll figure something. But mentally, we'll just mentally just make you cuss. us
I
out.
can curse. I can. What is the?
Oh,
What's the one they want?
fill in the blank.
I say
Oh,
just do it once and
last-
get it out of the
Start
way.
light.
Last night I was taking this huge,
Shit.
and I said, "Holy!"
I fucking hate Mad Libs. I am not doing this
doing
anymore.
Mad
Boom!
Libs.
You got him to
You're
curse.
doing exactly what
No,
you're
Mad
doing.
Libs is say an adjective and then say a
Oh, you're
noun.
doing fucking match game at best.
Boom.
See
We
how I
got
sneaked
two of them
it
in a
in
row.
there, and I even said sneaked, which I think is the way you're supposed to say it.
Snack.
I don't know. You're a
Oh, I don't know either.
you're a
Sneak.
grammatician.
Grammatician.
But
Yes,
you
is that
know,
your
those are
You
official
know what Autumn
title?
does for a living? She teaches illegals how to speak English,
Yeah, I knew that.
so they can fill out the
legals and illegals.
What's that?
I teach both legals and illegals.
What do you think the ratio is?
A lot of legals, a lot.
Because you see paperwork.
Yes, I see their social security.
Oh,
I
you
think-
see.
I think the.
No,
She
they
sees their
have-
social security. What? I mean, come on.
No,
Are you talking about
they're
ratio
legal.
like to ratio 50-50 what the baby's gonna be?
Yeah. No.
Like
No.
if it's
Yeah.
gonna be-
Yeah. Well, I think it's. There's
A
no
student's
doubt.
baby.
I don't. It's gonna,
Could be.
she may teach
Ooh, you are a
English.
tan white kid, baby.
She may teach.
My baby's
English,
name is Mohammed.
But
This
that
Jav-
baby's going
this
to come out
Javier.
speaking Spanish.
Javier.
See, you guys are talking over me. That's why we're doing this, so we don't talk over each other.
Big old Bob has a question.
Big
On the
ol'
last Ask Eric Anything, you said you were told to lie, BS, bend the truth by former PDs. Can you describe the specifics?
I'm in. I don't know if I can. I'm trying to think because I wasn't expecting this question. I definitely was not lying when I said that. Basically, okay. Well, to me, and maybe my idea of a lie is something that's just not real, I guess. But they always, for one thing, they wanted you to do these sort of stunt things all the time that weren't based on anything. Like they sat me and Larry down, and remember the Braves had a really bad season somewhere in 2001, 2, somewhere in there. And
5.
they went they didn't win games for a long stretch.
But the first season they didn't make the playoffs in quite a while. I think it was 5.
No, this was before then. This was before
Oh,
then.
they had a bad season?
They had lost 30 in a row or something. Something was going on. No, I mean it was bad. They opened the season, they lost their first 10. I don't remember what. But it's after the year, it's 2000 or something like that. And they sit me and Larry down, and we have a new program director at the time. Or no, we had program director was Tim Dukes. We had a new I don't know, whatever, the guy above the program director. And he said, what I want to do, he had a nice southern accent. He said, what I want to do, and he's like pitching this like it's the funniest, most original thing you can imagine. What I want to do, put you and Larry up on a billboard.
Oh yeah.
But here's the thing. You're not going to come down until the Braves win a baseball game. And I got up and said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm never doing that. I'm not going to do that. That's all there is to it. I'm going to leave this office right now. And I'm going to come back tomorrow and I'm going to swipe my card in front of that little doohickey, and if it lets me in, I'm going to assume that I still
You
do
still have a job.
the morning show here, but you're not getting me up on a billboard. That is not going to happen. That's one thing. That's more of a BS kind of thing that they wanted us to do. I thought a lot of the stuff was early on where, not even early on, but, a lot of times, I remember in LA, this is dating me, this was 95, 96 period of time, and it's when Melrose Place was huge. Mm-hmm. And so the consultant, not the program director, the consultant says, well, this is what you need to do. He was a Yankee. He wasn't a Southerner. I've had all accents come at me with the same nonsense. I think what we need to do is we have to have Melrose Monday. I can't remember if it was on Sunday nights or whatever, or if it was on Monday nights.
They do love alliteration. So.
Melrose Monday. And you guys will sum up Melrose Place for that weekend, that episode, and you'll talk about it and all that. And I said, why? Why would we do that? Why? And he said, well, Melrose Place is very popular. It's like part of the, how do you say that word? Zeitgeist.
The Zeitgeist.
Is that what you teach the illegals? Zeitgeist. And so that's popular. So you attach yourself to that and you get popular. And I said, I don't want to do that because why can't we're broadcasters. We're on the media. Why don't we do something that makes other people do regular Guys Tuesday? I mean, my whole point always was, I don't want to step into the spotlight of what other people have made popular and stand there and go, hey, look at me too.
Right.
I want to do programming that people will gravitate to and tell their friends about. And I said, we cheapen ourselves when we do a Melrose Monday. It says, hey, they're famous and they're big and we just want to kind of sneak into the spotlight and, I just not my kind
Leeches.
of. I consider that lying.
Yeah.
To me, that's lying.
No, if you did Melrose Monday and it was
Tuesday,
you talked about how awful the show was and how nobody should watch it every Monday.
Well, that would be great.
That would be awesome.
That would be one way of doing it.
Yeah.
And then you get a lot of stuff where I had one program director. I was producing. I wasn't on the air. This was early 90s. One program director. There was a female host of this. What do you call that? Like it was like Peach or Warm, or it was that kind of easy listening. Not quite easy listening. Adult contemporary station.
Gotcha.
There was a female host, and her name, I can't remember her name was, but let's just say her name was Ellen Johnson. It wasn't. So she was mildly popular, not even really popular, but she gets a job in DC and she goes away, and they got to bring a new person in. And there's a program director, and they're looking for the new person, and I said, well, what are we gonna get? Whatever. And he says, well, I've got an idea. This guy was a real goofball. I mean, this guy, out of all the program directors I've had, this guy looked like somebody hit him in the back of the head with a frying pan. I mean, his head just went flat in the back.
Perfect.
Very strange looking dude. And he would get up in front of so he's giving the meeting, and he says, well, I thought what we do is whoever we hire, we're going to call her Ellen Johnson. Like, people listening would buy that. Like, he thought, we're just going to bring in another woman, and whatever her name is, we're going to give her the same name as the woman who just left.
Like Bewitched or something?
New Darren.
Yeah,
the people who've
Weird.
been listening to this other woman for 2 or 3 years.
Like they just
would
switched
fall.
out.
Oh, well, hey, Ellen Johnson's back. I love her.
Like they just switched Aunt Viv out on Fresh Prince and they never acknowledged it. Like, it's a different woman. That is not the same mom. That is
Even
not
on
the Aunt
soap
Viv I
operas,
grew
when
up
there's a
on.
new person, they say playing the role of dumbass today is.
But isn't that the problem with radio? They think the listeners are idiots.
They
It
do
really
think the
does
listeners
boil
are
down
idiots.
to that, and that's
It's
why
either-
it's one of the worst mediums now, even though it shouldn't be.
Right.
It's a great medium, very intimate.
It
You
should
can call
be.
and you can speak to the person on the air. No, but now, 15 seconds. It's actually too long to talk. Like you were an anomaly with the morning show. There's not
Well,
many
yeah, that
morning
we
shows.
we were sort of grandfathered in. We were able to
right,
talk
with
and not
no
have music, but
yeah.
nothing is worse. As bad as things, in a weird way, things went kind of weird for me. And, I'm 49 years old and I got to build this thing out and I've got to do something else. But the worst place to be in is to be someone who was a really good DJ in like the early 2000s, had a real knowledge of music, that sort of thing. those guys, they went from making decent money to there's just nothing anymore. You got to be like the assistant program director, empty the trash cans, be the security guard overnight in order for them to say, okay, well, you can also be a DJ and have a bigger salary, because they won't let DJs speak for more than 12 seconds.
There was a
now.
DJ that I liked in
Yeah?
the mid aughts, I think, on 99X.
Oh, yeah, that douchebag.
No, a douchebag. He was great, innovative,
Yeah?
trying to do different things.
Yeah.
Did this gentleman have a name?
forget it.
I'm
Yeah.
assuming it's a guy
was
based
a-
on everything you just said.
Dicker or
Decker, I believe
Oh, yeah,
was his name.
Decker.
Yeah,
Decker,
yeah.
what's his name?
Yeah, that guy was great.
I really enjoyed him.
I remember listening
here's
to
the
that guy
thing
though
that
and call
I-
him doucher.
Yeah.
That's what we called him.
Yeah, he was.
So,
I didn't really care for him.
yeah.
He thought he was like really clever, and I don't know. But what year was Decker on?
Decker was on. When did they hire me? I mean, Decker, 2005 to 2007.
Yeah, but see what happened was 2008 came along, and I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but they published what's hot and what's not kind of list, or what's in and what's out for 2008. And
I was gone. I'd already moved from.
Well,
the city.
2007 maybe it is, but I remember that on that list, what was in was good traditional radio, and what was out apparently on that list was Andy Kaufman style performance radio. And so the powers that be looked at that list, they just axed Decker completely. Problem with Decker was he didn't give a damn about his audience. He was all about himself. And,
No, he cared
and-
about the audience. He tried to
enter-
give the audience a different listening experience, because how many times can you hear Nirvana and Pearl Jam? Give me a break.
13 by contract, according to radio,
Right.
a day.
Decker was a narcissist, and you know that.
No, he was not. Anyway, going back to radio, the point is,
Yeah.
it stinks right now,
Well, it does.
and
It
that's
does
why you have this network.
That's
you're
why
building.
I'm doing this.
Well, and this has
And
a,
how can people support? Sorry, Autumn, but let's get to this because someone asked a question.
Hey, I filled
Can
out-
they make a one-time donation on Patreon?
I
And
saw
I
that.
totally cut you off, and I'm sorry.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I saw that question, and I'm not really sure about that. So I'll get back to you on that. I mean, I want your one-time donation if you can only do a one-time donation. Check it out. Patreon.tv.com works as well. Patreon.tv, Eric Vaughn Radio. And you have the opportunity to help us actually fund the morning show with EVH. And I plan on doing some really, really great things. If you go there, I have a little manifesto on that front page. We have goals that we would like to attain. There's a nice little video there explaining the whole thing to you. But here, let me just make this pitch again, if I can. This would be awesome. Everybody complains about corporate radio. Everybody, except for John Dickey and his family. They love corporate radio, but normal people complain about corporate radio everywhere you go. We honestly are looking to do something about it, and it will be fantastic if we could get, this is my big goal, 1,000 people at $10 a month. That gives me an operating budget of $120,000 a year. I can pay people. We can do things. Bring in a few advertisers to put up on top of it. And we got a nice little operating budget there, and we can do all kinds of great things. So
And the only way that we're going to be able to continue is if we get help.
that's right.
So
That's right. From advertisers and from,
I like the idea of Autumn making the plea. It'll go a long way.
yeah.
you think so? I mean, she's
It
pregnant.
was Michael pleading. I'm like, oh, that guy.
He just draws penises on cars. What does he know?
Yeah,
That's what people will say. He's the penis guy,
He-
penis bandit.
neither
Penis
of them,
bandit.
That's what the cops
neither of them
call
look
him.
like they're starving to me. I don't know. People,
I
think
am
we need-
actually so hungry right now.
Do you want some of this apple?
I don't want your garlic apple, but thank
It's
you.
not good.
No, you don't eat apples because somebody was complaining earlier. What's that noise? Is somebody
Were
eating
they
an apple?
complaining? I thought of it as like, ooh, what is that? Is that an apple?
No,
This
no,
is
it's
just
more
my
like,
voice.
this is
They're
killing
like, get
me.
it off. Stop this guy from talking.
More questions, please.
Someone wants to know about 99X, but that means I would have to hijack the show.
Look, you're on the show. You're on the show, so don't feel as if you have to hijack the show. What do they want to
Well,
know?
you can speak on one of them. How close? So speaking of 99X, how close were you to them there? Like Toucher, Leslie.
I didn't know Leslie at all. Really, I met her a couple of times. She was always nice to me.
I knew Leslie, and she's the one who hired me to do the weird stuff that you said was terrible.
Yes.
Which it
Narcissistic.
wasn't. It was not her fault, by the way.
Decker, I mean, Greg.
That it went down. It was, yeah, it was
Should we all have radio?
the company that bought it. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Well,
Toucher though, I mean, Toucher's a
Toucher,
guy that
by the
people we know him, but I don't know how much you want to go into those stories.
No. I will say that I became good friends. I mean, for a little while, I became decent friends with Toucher. Toward the end there, when the Dickies first bought, when Cumulus first bought, somewhere in there, and because Toucher, a lot of people don't know that Toucher actually applied with the regular guys back in 1998 when we first came here to be our second producer. And I wanted him, and I don't know what was with Larry. He hired a girl from Massachusetts or something who, I mean, she was a good person, but it was a bad fit. Toucher, I thought, would have been great. So he was young, skinny. I thought funny. He was. I bring up skinny because he's not skinny anymore. But he was ready to go. I thought he was really funny. But I didn't see him again for years. And somehow we struck up a friendship toward the end of his run there at 99X. And he's doing great now, right? He's got a show in Boston that's kicking ass.
Yeah, it does well.
Sports show. I think
because they survived the format flip.
They were a rock station or something like that, and they've switched over to sports. They kept the morning show, Toucher and Rich. Is that it? They're kicking ass. But I had fun with Toucher. But I'll just tell you something about Toucher is that he
earned the name.
Well, he enjoyed beer, as I recall. I don't know that it was necessarily would always put him in a good place. I have relatives like this. And he had a little bit of rage. I remember, I'll tell this story because I think it's funny. He called me. This is when you know somebody has rage. So this is toward the end of 99X. I think I was one of the times the regular guys were off the air. He and I may have been talking about doing something together or something early on. And he gives me a call on his cell phone. His wife is driving the car, or the girl he's about to marry. And he calls me, and I can barely understand. He's like, "You wouldn't fucking believe what these fucking Dickey brothers want me to do." And so apparently it was around Christmas, and somebody, John or Lou or somebody, had an idea that they wanted him to be in the mall, and basically he would be like an elf on a shelf or something, and they would actually put him in a big stocking. And then people would do things around this or whatever. And he called me, and he was right. It was a ridiculous idea. But while he's telling me, I don't know if you ever had this with people who have rage, but they start telling you a story, and somewhere in the middle of the story, you become the person they're mad at. Like, I became John Dickey somewhere in the middle. And so he just started screaming at me. And I remember at one point the call sounded just like this. And I said, "Okay, I agree." And I hung up. And
I agree.
Toucher and I used to disagree a little bit about, he liked that aggressive style on air of pissing off guests and things like that. And I thought at that time it had kind of played out. But look, man, he's killing it in Boston.
Well, you could have a different style over there too, you know?
No, Autumn.
No?
Right and wrong is right and wrong.
I'm
If
saying
you
here,
have a guest,
no, I'm
you
saying
should give
here,
them the opportunity
I'm not saying that.
to be cool before you jump on
Yeah.
them. I used to have this argument with Larry all the time. It's like, somebody is a guest, you should always give them the chance to be cool. And then if they're jerks first,
Right.
then it's okay to kind of take it to that level. But I never want to ambush somebody out of the box and not let them know. But if they're jerks to me, like, you know, William Shatner or Gene Simmons or people like that, or any psychic who's ever gone on the radio, I'll go after them.
They're the worst.
Are we practicing our dead air, or is there another question?
I thought Michael had something to say about psychics. I was waiting for a funny joke or a line.
Keep waiting.
He doesn't get paid yet. He hasn't been paid yet. The funny comes
I'm
later.
debating right now.
Well, I just didn't want to cut him off like I cut off Autumn earlier.
Well,
trying to be
I was
polite.
gonna all throughout there. I wanted to jump in and talk about that's why radio is headed where it is right now is because of idiot program directors and people. And this is coming from someone who's never been in the radio business.
So you really don't know what you're talking
Absolutely,
about.
because I'm a listener that stopped listening because it
then
became irate. Like the days of like when I was growing up in Atlanta of like the 99X morning show and like that era was amazing. Everyone was listening, everyone was making money, and then all of a sudden people tried to like these guys that couldn't make it in radio were just poking their ideas and trying to dress people up like elves, and
Yeah.
it's like, stop it! What are you doing? You're ruining it, and then it just ruined it.
Well, that's the funny thing about program directors, consultants. To a man, they all failed on the radio, or else they
Absolutely.
would still be on the radio. I mean, almost every single one of them did a radio shift at some point,
Right.
and then realized, I'm not very good at this, but I can tell other people how to do it. I mean, I'm sure. Look, you can't overgeneralize, I suppose, in anything. There have to be decent consultants and decent program directors out there. I've just never met them in 20 years. Anyway.
But yeah, people forget that the dynamic between the
Right.
hosts or whoever,
That's all that matters.
That is there already, so you don't have to
Right.
insert anything.
Larry and I couldn't get rid of it as much as we hated each other. You know, something would happen when we got together and did radio, and we didn't really want to look at each other anymore, but people kept coming along and
Right.
offering us a bunch of money to keep working together. And so we did, because there was some kind of thing there.
Well, there was a balance,
Right.
that
But
you both
also,
struck
but no
together.
program director would put that together.
Right.
That show didn't have a woman on it. I mean, when you're
Right.
putting stuff like that, we got to have a girl in there to balance out the
Oh, is that what?
testosterone.
But that's what you were doing
Oh,
with me, right?
no, you're here because you can shoot the shit like everybody else. And, I think it's not a bad idea to have a female voice because it's different and, you don't want mono out there. But you want people, I don't want you to tell me to stop being a guy or
Right.
it's getting awful. I mean, you're by the way, one of the crudest people that I know. I mean, when you're around, the conversation always turns raunchier than when I'm sitting around with 2 or 3 other guys. So that's not the reason you're here. You're here
And-
because you have something to say.
And because you got boobies.
And because you had sex
Yeah,
with Tim.
boobies.
Also because you had sex with Tim Andrews. And
I
the
did.
crowd loves Tim Andrews. And I can't have him here.
He taught me
So,
so much.
I thought the osmosis.
I could do those voices.
That gut must have been just tremendous. Anyway, I'm sorry. So
It was tremendous, not in a negative way. Oh, tremendous.
tremendously awesome.
That's right.
There have
Yes.
been comments about your breasts. People like them.
They are
Just so
very
you know.
big right now.
You have relatively
Wait, wrong
large,
cam. Hold on. Do that again.
There they
You
are.
have relatively large
Ooh.
breasts.
Just normal. Yeah, they're a little
Normally.
bit big, and now they've gotten
But now
out
you're,
of control.
you're pregnant.
And my bra doesn't fit, so there's nice and
So
snug
you
sagging.
in
stop
there.
wearing them.
I should just stop. No, you would.
for you.
It would be less appealing if I stopped wearing a
Oh
bra.
yeah, like a wind sock with no wind.
No,
The airport. Jabang.
The
Oh,
be
is
on
it-
the table.
inflatable balloon guy
Yeah.
outside of the subway, and someone tripped the cord. Exactly.
Too bad.
Oh man, I remember being single. Women would trick you with those. Then
Push-up bras.
yeah, and then all of a sudden it's like. Wow.
That's why you have
Oh.
to develop a keenness towards the bottom end.
Well, I have
Yeah, that's-
and did,
'cause
and
you-
also
that's a hard one to fake.
Also, I was never, my wife has not large breast. She doesn't have like nothing, but she has, smaller than usual. But here's the thing, my
I
wife.
can't tell if you were. That
No,
was a
no, I'm
positive
being
thing.
honest. My wife and I have been
you were
together.
spinning there.
Oh, they haven't moved. yeah.
My wife and I have been together 27 years. She still has the same breasts, basically, that she had 27 years ago. If they'd been like this, you add 27 years, I wouldn't be dealing with the same breast.
They're down at her knees.
Yeah, so maybe I didn't get the big thing when
Should
it
be
could, but
tucking
see,
it into her belt.
it was a long buy. I was
Right.
thinking in the long run, and it worked out.
That was
the-
your,
I
your
still-
criteria.
Oh yeah,
That was the only one,
believe
too.
Like
me.
if a pros and cons list, like
You
oh, should we
took
stay
your
together?
your book out, just flip. Let's see,
Okay.
boobs, check,
right.
and we're done here.
All
All right, let's put this in an oversized book bag. I don't know why this thing was so big.
Nice hiney, nice boobs,
nice tiny.
and she didn't say no. Okay, will you marry
She
me?
speaks relatively decent English. We're in.
We're in. Now I can stop thinking about this.
Hold on, I'm hijacking this for a second. There's a
Breaking
comment.
news.
Was it Decker that did the hot mom check-in? No, it was not Decker that did the hot mom check-in.
No,
I would
sounds like
never. It was some dude on Star 94.
Yeah, it sounds like a Burt Show thing.
Oh God.
What would happen? People like ladies would call in like, "I'm a hot mom."
I don't know. I wouldn't listen. I was on the air at the same
That
time.
sounds terrible.
right,
Decker did things like, I don't know. I remember you.
Pretended to be a college radio DJ throughout a whole shift.
Yeah,
That
which
was-
was just
Papers
really.
shuffling.
Before
So-
your time, man.
I
List-
was
listing the past 50 songs I played. And before that, you heard Pearl Jam Alive. And before that, you heard Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit. You see, that's my two go-to because like,
Yeah,
how many
it's okay.
times can you hear those songs? Oh, you still love them. No, I don't love them.
So, You also gave announcements that said that there was an STD clinic in room 203. I mean, you really tuned into 99X on this particular evening, and you really did not know what the hell was going on. And he was messing up his
No, what I was doing,
announcements.
I was pretending I
As
was.
the college DJ.
Yeah, I was on campus, so
Right.
that I would also get free condoms and
Right.
room 507,
Yeah.
Wendy Hall.
Wendy Hall.
And Buzz, whatever his last name was, who was the program director over at 96 Rock at the time, I was telling him, Greg, he's really good. You ought to think about trying to get him back in this building because he's a creative guy and everything. And he was listening to that show. And I was driving home. Everybody's stuck in traffic. And he called me up and said, what the fuck is your friend doing over there? And I was all Mr. Creative. And I'm taking up for my friend. I said, well, he's being, he's being an artist, he's doing his thing. And he said, I would drive back to the station, yank him out of that studio, and fire him immediately if that was my...
Well, that
and
guy's an idiot.
And I said, well, that's why you're a hackneyed asshole.
Said,
I didn't,
your
it was a cell phone, so I didn't do that. But
Slammed it down. I broke my phone.
Threw it out the window.
You know your name is Buzz, right? Like you
Yeah.
can take a hike.
What was his
Yeah.
last name? I got along with him. He was
Just every time you see
Casey.
him,
Buzz Casey. Yeah, he was
there's no way that I could know somebody named Buzz and not every time I see him just go, your girlfriend Woof. Like there'd be no chance of me doing anything but that, and then laughing at his stupid haircut.
If there's one thing about program directors, they're all kind of hackneyed. But if you're fun to get high with, then I'll hang out with you. So Buzz and I, his name was fitting.
No, but I mean that's a good example of
Because he always was,
He was
man.
always ready to pot up.
that's a good example of people in radio not understanding something that's unique and maybe different, and maybe people are it may be more interesting.
Can I please come down here in the middle somewhere? I don't think people who were tuning in had any idea what was going on. I don't necessarily know that I would agree that would be a good thing.
I feel like Decker
I
was
would
the
agree.
kids in the hall of the radio.
It's like there's REM B-sides that I love, but I understand why they're B-sides. They're not on, official releases. So,
I enjoy unique and interesting.
well,
things.
you're fat. Next question.
Why didn't you attend Southside Steve's wedding? We can't go through the show without
Oh my
addressing
God.
it.
Because I wasn't invited, number one.
Did you ever get an invite?
I never got an invite.
Man.
Never got an invite.
Because
I
you
gotta
were
tell you,
fired before they sent out, or after they sent out invites, right?
No, I think probably right there. I think it was just assumed that everybody on the show, obviously, if I was still there on the show, you call it an invite. I call it, I would have been forced to go. There would have been no
imagine-
You
getting
would
out
have
of
liked
it.
to have gone, right? If you were
No.
still there.
No,
Really?
If you were
No.
still there.
no. I hate weddings. I would have gone. I would have
Except for
gone.
my
So the
wedding,
weddings is
kick
why you
ass.
hate. It's not because you don't want to go to
well,
that
here's
particular
the-
wedding. You're just not a weddings
Couple
guy.
things on that one. The everything. I don't like socializing with Larry, and so everything you do, with Larry becomes okay. The next show, I gotta,
Yeah.
he's gonna act like I did something I didn't. The whole world is Curb Your Enthusiasm to him, and he tries to pretend that he's Larry David. So he creates awkward incidents that aren't real so that he can then comment on them the next day. And I just, that was fun for a while, but I was tired of it. And I hate weddings. You know this. The last wedding I went to was yours. I couldn't get out of it. I think I tried. I couldn't get out of it. And what I hate more than weddings is receptions.
That's the best part of the wedding.
No,
best
no,
part.
because then you're stuck for like 4 or 5 hours. A wedding has a thing, and you go, okay, have a good life. I'm going to go on and enjoy my day. But you split it up, and then, what are we going to do? Jane, we go whatever to a bar for a couple hours
Go make
to
out,
go back,
get drunk, make out.
drive.
You go to a
All right.
reception. It's like, I have to sit here around some people that I'm
I
familiar
don't-
with and know, eat and drink on
I tried
their
to put you
tab,
at a
and
cool
then
table.
You
and then
did.
I get to do the YMCA in front of a bunch of old ladies. Like,
Yeah.
it's the best time ever.
The electric slide.
Exactly.
I was.
Now, I don't like the institution or why I'm there.
Yeah.
I just like free food. What
I
are you
don't
doing?
believe in this.
I don't believe in marriage. but I believe in buffets.
You put me at the table with Lucky Yates, our friend.
That's right.
Who's now a big time dude with Archer.
Big time.
Big time.
So and then my wife loves to dance. My wife is the opposite of me. She's outgoing.
She was the best.
She doesn't care if she looks foolish, So just so she's out dancing and I don't dance. I mean, my wife and I have an arrangement. she gets a slow dance. Every reception we go to, I can hold on to her and shuffle around for 5 minutes, and that's it. But I'm not going to get out there. I think dancing is goofy. It's weird to me that people move their bodies around like that, standing next to each other. I just think that's odd. I mean, if you really think about it, it's
right.
very, very strange.
But a lot of the things that we do is odd if you think about it that way. It's like when we go to a movie, we're all staring into the darkness. Like, it's strange.
We're here, but we're not talking to each other.
Yeah,
we're looking at this thing.
People here.
I'm the one in the movies just doing this the whole time.
Hello, lady.
Is this an arm coming over your back? Boobies. Like, that's how I operate.
So you actually are up to something.
Yeah, always.
Not just watching the movie. But yeah, I just think dancing is weird. So anyways, I don't like weddings. And I didn't want to go to that wedding. And because here's the thing with Steve, and since he's never gotten in touch with me since I left once, he's obviously said
burn this bridge.
He made a bid. He
Burn it down.
He made a choice.
Burn it.
He said, I don't want that
later.
friendship anymore. I'm just gonna suck on Larry's big old cock for the rest of my life. And make money that way. So he made his choice. And Steve is annoying enough when he's not legitimately the center of attention in public. I mean, he walks into any room and makes himself the center of attention to annoyance. Do I really want to go spend a day where he actually is legitimately in the spotlight and the center of attention? I mean, how annoying would that be? So I think that his wife is very nice. She was always very nice to me. I wish him the best of luck. I give him 5 years. I always have. I think that's pretty good. I give him 5 years because they're going to have a kid.
How long have they been together so far? Do you know?
About 2 years, year and a half, 2 years.
Is that included in the 5 years?
No.
5 years.
I give them 5 years of marriage because I
7
think they're going
years
to get pregnant pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And so Steve won't bust that up until the kid's like 4. But his
Very
eye,
specific.
his eye is going to stray. I mean, it's all about the strange for him.
Does it would it offend you if you knew that you were on an invite list before the rest of the people knew that you were going to be fired, and then they had to take it off, and then they knew for weeks or something that
Autumn, you can never offend me by not inviting me to a wedding. Yeah. It is. I don't care how you get there. I don't care how. Yeah, I would wish if everybody I knew would just go. You know what? Our wedding present to you, Eric, is that you do not have to attend our wedding. I will write a check, which I did for you. I'll write I'm good, huh?
Yes,
I'll write
amazing.
a nice big check, and Jane and I will take you out when you get back from the honeymoon, and we'll have. But that's like the greatest thing in the world is somebody saying, when they come up to me and go, hey, we got a lot of people. Because usually it's like a thing, Oh, he didn't invite me to the wedding.
Right.
I am the first one to jump in. Look,
Take
man,
me off the
if
list.
you're maxed, if there's no more chicken dinners left, take me off and no hard feelings. So I hate weddings.
But there's some people you want to see there.
I liked my wedding. I got married. Where I got married?
In a park or something.
Got married at Brand Park, which is the park that Chicago was singing about when they sang Saturday in the Park. Oh. And I got married on a Saturday, a beautiful Saturday in that park.
Look at that.
There was not a man selling ice cream.
Yeah, no ice cream?
No.
Singing Italian songs?
But I found out later it was a big pickup park for the gays. Like they go, so literally where Jane and I were exchanging our vows on this beautiful Glendale, California, late afternoon. Probably within 100 feet, some guy was on his knees.
That was a bad one.
Huh?
That was a bad pee pop.
Probably. I'm probably.
Yeah.
I gotta get my face there. Probably within like 100 feet, some guy was on his knees servicing a stranger.
That's like every park in every city. My dad still says, "You don't go into Piedmont at night, do you?" I'm like, why? He goes, "That's where the gays go to meet." I go, "The gays go to meet up everywhere I am."
Yeah.
Like, who cares if it's in the park or not? Like,
live
what
in
are we
the city.
talking about? Yeah. Like they're going to the corner. Like they're going anywhere they want. The next door probably. Who knows? And I don't care, Dad. Stop
It's
telling me
funny. It's funny. I want to start walking more because I don't like exercising, but I do like walking. And there's Roswell Park is close, and there's like a loop you can do, and if you do it, it's basically a mile. And so I figured if you do it every day, you walk 7 miles a week. Not overdo it, but it's more than not doing anything.
Sounds like a pretty gay
But
loop, Eric.
It's called the gay loop.
Is it really?
No. So
I would have loved that.
I'm begging my wife, make yourself available so that we can walk together. Remember when we used to walk together?
Yeah, that was
I like to
great.
walk with somebody. I just tell my wife, make yourself available at certain times so we can walk together. And she says, why do you need me to walk with you? And I tried to explain to her the whole middle-aged man walking through a park, 2:00 in the afternoon. There's a school.
You're just as nervous of doing that as like a teenage girl by herself running through the park.
Yes,
It's the same reason.
I
Like,
think
don't wanna
people
get
will
touched.
look at me walking through a park dressed like this, no running clothes, no nothing, just walking through a park, and assume that's the reason I'm there. So I want to have my wife
Put
next to
some
me.
earbuds in and listen to a podcast or an audiobook or something.
reason
Yeah,
that-
it's a
that-
great way to go with nature. Put some earbuds in and don't listen to the birds
reason
in
it
the
would look
trees.
weird is because you'd be carrying a blanket behind you, and that's what would freak people out. It's like,